If you're ever asking yourself, okay, what's next in my specific person manifestation? The answer is literally whatever it is that you want. So maybe you're running into them all the time and you want them to text you. Or maybe you're texting them all the time and you want them to call you. Or maybe you're calling them all the time and you want to date them, right? Everything is in relation to our assumption. And if we are asking, okay, what's next? All we have to do is just amplify whatever state that we're acting from. Now, of course, if you're imagining for the end, you're not going to run into this problem, except if you manifest exactly what you want, but then you still want to create more as a result of that. But this idea is basically if you ever feel stuck in your manifestation or feel like you've created what you wanted, but everything isn't perfectly in alignment. And so this is a question I do get asked a lot. And so I wanted to make a video that just explains it. So when we ask what's next, we want to think about it in the ways of the state and how you can always embody a different level of a particular state. And I can give you an example of this in relation to wealth. So let's imagine a millionaire and a billionaire. So the difference between those two is very obvious. But if you were to ask themselves or ask them how they got into that state, they would mention that they are in a state of wealth. But each of them individually would be in a state of wealth. So then what's the difference between the two? And the answer is going to be abundance or the level of wealth that they're actually occupying. So the millionaire is of course going to be wealthy, but compared to the billionaire, they are going to feel like they're not doing anything. And so they could ask themselves, but I'm acting from a state of wealth, but I'm doing all this. Why isn't anything changing? And if we can see, that's usually very similar to what we think or what we feel when we're manifesting our specific person. We might have them texting us or calling us, but asking, okay, but what next, right? What can I create from here on out? What if I want more? The answer is you can always embody a state further or bring more abundance to it. So the difference between the millionaire and the billionaire is just the level of which they're occupying the state of wealth. Their mind is just occupying wealth, but in a different way. And so when we think of our specific person and we want them to text us more, to call us more, to do whatever we want more, or to marry us, or whatever the next level is, just ask yourself, how could I act or embody this state from a more abundant mindset? So basically what we're doing is we're becoming either the wifey or husband millionaire and moving into the wifey or husband billionaire. We're just acting from a state at a further level because there actually is no limitation to how you can act from a state. There is no limit to how loving you can be. There is no limit to how abundant you can be. And actually, I would say it all shows up in relation to what we expect to be happening or what we feel is the most obvious as a result of our state. And because really, honestly, ask yourself, why can't your specific person text you more or call you more or go on more dates, right? It's just the level at which we're occupying a state. And then we just ask ourselves, how can we occupy it even more? And again, the crazy and wild thing is we'll never reach a perfect state. And this is actually really, really good. So when you're thinking of being in a state of communication, you could always be in a state of communication where you get texted a day or once a day, or texted every hour of every single day of every single minute, right? There's no difference in the level of the feeling or the state except what we are actually expecting to occur. And so if you want to upgrade or move to the next level, just ask yourself these simple questions. How could I embody this state more? If it were a feeling of being in communication, what is a more distinct or accurate feeling that I would be feeling? Instead of thinking, what does it feel like to maybe be talking to my specific person once a day? How does it feel to be texted every single moment of every single day? Or maybe you want to be called, or maybe you want to be dating, or maybe married. Maybe you manifested dating them and you want to have them propose to you. Ask yourself, it is still a relationship or it still is a level of love or a level of commitment or a level of communication. It's just at a different level of abundance. And honestly, ask yourself, is there a limit to love, confidence, abundance, right? We would say no, there is no limit to either of those things. And the crazy thing is, in these states, we start to actually look to our reality for change, even though we know that it's always going to be us. So let's say you start to manifest your specific person communicating with you more. Of course, we're always going to be imagining for our end state, but let's say that was your end state. Now, we usually really get to the state and then go, okay, what's next? How can my specific person do more for me? How can my specific person text me more? How can my specific person, how can they do something more? But remember, your entire reality is just reflecting you. It's reflecting your current state of being. And so why are we looking to our external reality for change in what we desire, what we want, when it always is going to be us? It's just a level or a different level of the state that we're acting from. And it's not that we actually have to work or try or put in a lot of effort in order to do this. This is something that you actually already have contained within you right now. You have every single state and every single embodiment you could ever imagine. It's just an act of feeling it and embodying it and releasing this state. It's not that you have to work to be more loving, or you have to work to be more abundant, or that you have to work to do anything extra. This sensation and feeling is available to you at this moment, right here and right now. There's actually no separation from you in any state that you could ever imagine. So when you're moving from the wifey millionaire, so that level of wifiness, into a state of wifey billionaire, so that level of wifiness, it's actually just a decision, right? It's not something crazy, it's not something wild. And then just as easily as you move to the wifey billionaire, you can move to the wifey trillionaire, or you could go from the wifey millionaire to the trillionaire, right? There is actually no limit to what you can do. The limit is actually just what we think the limit is, or what we feel is in relation to who we are. Because the only reason that we feel it might be hard to jump from one state to another is that we identify too much with our current state, or we feel as if we have to do something, or we look too much into our external reality for proof of this creation. But it has nothing to do with anything outside of you. It has everything to do with us. Your specific person texting you once a day, or 5 times a day, or 100 times a day is actually just in relation to you. You are either the individual who's texted once, texted 100 or 1,000,000 times, right? I don't even remember what numbers I gave, but it's always in relation to us. So as you begin to move upward and move forward, I mean, you are technically just bouncing and jumping between states, but as you begin to move forward, always keep in mind, it has nothing to do with your external reality. This is just reflecting you. Your specific person wants to reach out to you. They want to text you. They want to be calling you. They want to be proposing to you. We just have to accept that they're always going to be reflecting based on who we are at any given moment, and that is never going to change. Your reality is always going to be this way. Signs are always going to follow. They never are going to precede. So keep that in mind every single step of the way. And ask yourself, if I want to act as the wifey trillionaire or the wifey billionaire instead of the wifey millionaire, because you are already receiving some amazing results, I almost guarantee that. But if you want to act from that state, just ask yourself, what's the difference in thinking? What's the difference in feeling? What would I be acting or thinking, or how would I respond as the wifey billionaire as compared to the wifey millionaire, right? That's going to become so obvious when we start to act and embody the state, and we'll realize the choice between acting between each of those is just that. It is just a choice at any given moment. So if you did have any questions on this, make sure to comment them down below. Remember, you can also reach out to me on my website at kyleaugustcoaching.com. As well as this, make sure to keep me updated on your own manifestation, because I want to hear the updates of you and your specific person. Like, what have you been manifesting, or what worries or fears or anxieties have you had? Because that's just as important as overcoming or it's just as important to overcome what we feel is in our way, or to focus on it and realize it never was in our way to get to our end state. So make sure to keep me updated on that. As well as this, make sure to comment, I am the wifey billionaire, I am the husband billionaire, I am the hubby billionaire, whatever you want to comment down below. That's going to be your new state that you're acting from. And again, I know 1,000,000 to 1,000,000,000 seems like 1,000-fold effort, but it is not going to be that way. It's actually just a decision. The only difference between the millionaire and the billionaire is a difference in their decision of their concept of themselves. And so you being with your specific person is absolutely no different. As always, thank you so much for stopping by today, and I can't wait to see you in my next video tomorrow.